Have you ever wondered why, in the 21st century, so many people struggle to achieve the prosperity they dream of? The truth is that the secret to wealth may be right before your eyes, hidden in the pages of Bible, a book that most people only know for its spiritual message, but which is a true manual for financial success. Imagine discovering ancient knowledge that millions have ignored, but which can transform your financial life forever. If you feel like you've tried everything, affirmations, courses, visualizations, and still the money isn't coming, you may be missing out on understanding the root of success, practical wisdom combined with faith. In this video, you'll learn how the greatest millionaire mentors use biblical teachings to make money work for you, even in times of crisis and inflation. Get ready to see money, the entrepreneurship, and to Bible in a new light. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn here could be the turning point in your journey to financial freedom. Have you ever thought about using the same strategy that Joseph, one of the wisest and richest men in history, applied to turn the impossible into reality? So, let's discover this secret together. From an early age, we have been taught that the Bible is a sacred book, full of moral and spiritual teachings. But few know that it is also a true wealth guide, with over 2,350 verses talking about money. That's more than the verses on faith and prayer combined. Coincidence? I wouldn't say so. The Bible has always treated prosperity as a reflection of divine wisdom. Now, imagine using this ancient knowledge to structure your financial life. It's like having in your hands an instruction manual straight from the Creator on how to deal with the most valuable things we have: our time, our work, and our assets. Big people, and rich people, have understood this for a long time. And do you know what's even more curious? Many of these millionaires don't even follow religion, but they study it, Biblia, as if it were a manual entrepreneurship. Want a practical example? Take Proverbs. That stuff is pure gold. Advice on planning, discipline, patience, and even how to deal with debt. The Bible doesn't romanticize poverty. It teaches that a wise servant governs, while a foolish one wastes. And in the midst of all this, it invites you to see the money as a tool, not a villain. Ready to open this book with new eyes? You know that old saying, "Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are." In the world of business and finance, that's worth its weight in gold. Millionaire mentors, those who really make a difference, are those who not only accumulate wealth, but also share wisdom. And surprisingly, many of them have the Bible as a bedside book, not for religion, but for strategy. These guys look at the Bible as if it were a management book. They cite Joseph as an example of emotional intelligence and strategic planning. They talk about Solomon as the king of networking and investing. People like Ray Dalio, John Maxwell, and even Silicon Valley entrepreneurs have mentioned biblical principles as the basis for their decisions. It's as if the Bible's spiritual wisdom was also the source code of rich mindset. So get this: if you want to grow, you need to hang out with people who have already made it. It won't always be easy to have a millionaire mentor at your coffee table, but you can start by studying who they study. If they dive into the Bible to understand money, land investment, and lasting prosperity, why wouldn't you do the same? The key is not to memorize verses, but to apply the principles. The story of Joseph, the son of Jacob, is one of the greatest lessons of entrepreneurship ever told, and almost no one realizes it. He was sold into slavery, unjustly imprisoned, and yet he became the most powerful man in Egypt after the Pharaoh. How? He interpreted dreams, yes, but the real secret was planning, vision, and the courage to act in times of crisis. When he had the chance to change the game, Joseph proposed a bold economic plan: save during the years of plenty to survive in the years of scarcity. This is not just faith, it is financial management high level. He understood that abundance without strategy leads to bankruptcy, and convinced the pharaoh himself to invest in grain stocks, the equivalent of land investment nowadays. Result? Enrichment in times of crisis, something that few achieve. Now, if you think this is just a biblical story, think again. The Joseph model is studied by economists, managers, and business people. He is like a millionaire mentor disguised as a biblical character. And what he applied back then is still valid today, especially with the inflation eroding purchasing power. The question is, are you acting like a Joe, or are you just waiting for your luck to change? Look, repeating, "I am rich, I am prosperous," 1,000 times in the mirror may lift your spirits, but it doesn't pay the bills. Many people cling to the statements and views waiting for money to fall from the sky. But the Bible teaches something quite different. True power lies in renewal of the mind, not just in words. It is the mindset that determines whether you will multiply or waste what you have in your hands. The difference between those who prosper and those who flounder is in applied knowledge. Joseph didn't wait for a miracle, he prepared, studied, and planned. And that's true today. What's the point of repeating that you want to be a millionaire if you don't understand how it works? Inflation, compound interest, or the value of a land investment. Faith without action is a dream. And a dream without strategy becomes frustration. A Bible is not a magic book. It is a practical guide. It shows that wisdom is more powerful than emotion. The great millionaire mentors understand this. They focus on developing the mind, creating habits, learning from mistakes. Want to change your financial life? Start by changing what goes into your mind, not just what comes out of your mouth. When you think of biblical characters, you probably picture prophets in the desert or kings on golden thrones. But if you look closely, you'll see a pattern. Almost all of them were great entrepreneurs. Abraham traded land and livestock, David led military strategies like a CEO with his own army, and Solomon, well, he built the equivalent of a multinational empire. Bible is full of business lessons disguised as stories. These men knew how to handle resources, manage people, and expand wealth. Solomon, for example, invested in horses, precious metals, and trade routes, total diversification. What he did was practically an MBA in investments applied in practice. And do you know where all this wisdom came from? From above, yes, but also from experience, of the study and long-term vision that Bible teaches. Nowadays, anyone who wants to grow needs to stop separating spirituality from money. There is no contradiction between having faith and being prosperous. The entire Bible shows that. These great men were spiritual leaders and businessmen at the same time. And if you want to follow that path, you need to start thinking like them, with strategy, boldness, and purpose. And the next point will show you exactly how to do that in tough economic times. Have you ever noticed how your money seems to evaporate over time? It's called inflation, and it is like a silent thief who steals your purchasing power every single month. Bible, long before modern economists, already taught that keeping wealth under the mattress, or today, in savings, is not wisdom. The secret has always been to invest, especially in something that does not lose value over time. One of the oldest and most valued investments mentioned in the Bible is earth. Joseph, for example, used the years of plenty to accumulate resources and invest in storage, which, at the time, was almost the same as buying fertile land. Even today, great fortunes are built and preserved through land investments. While money loses value, land tends to appreciate over time. Those who understand this will not be held hostage by the crisis. Great millionaire mentors recommend real assets, such as real estate and land, especially in times of instability. And look how interesting, the Bible itself warned about these economic movements millennia ago. Do you see how faith and financial intelligence go hand in hand? The next step is to understand how an entire community used these principles to build lasting wealth. Have you ever noticed how the Jewish people, even though they are a minority in the world, have a massive presence in the areas of business, finances and investments? This is not luck, nor coincidence, it is tradition based on log, that is, on the same principles as Bible. From a young age, they learn that dealing well with money is a spiritual duty. It is not greed, it is wisdom. Jews practice what many call financial literacy from birth. They talk about entrepreneurship at home, teach their children to save, invest, and multiply. And it's not just theory, they put into practice concepts such as land investment, own businesses, and long-term vision. They know that relying solely on the system is dangerous, and that's why they invest wisely, avoiding inflation that corrodes assets. It is common to see entire families involved in ventures, where each generation inherits not only assets, but also financial mindset. This explains why so many Jews thrive in fields like technology, finance, and real estate. They follow principles that come from Bible, apply with discipline and build sustainable wealth. And the most interesting thing? They use a simple, ancient formula, which you will learn about now. Here's a secret that many rich people use, but few teach: rule of thirds. The most prosperous Jews divide their income into 3 parts, 1/3 to save, 1/3 to reinvest in their own business and 1/3 to invest in land. It seems simple, right? But it is precisely this simplicity applied with discipline that makes the difference over time. Saving 1/3 means having the strength to face unforeseen events, crises and even pandemics. The second third, reinvested, makes the money work for you, increasing your income and strengthening your position in the market. The third, put in a real estate, protects your assets against inflation and ensures security for future generations. This is not just a financial technique, it is a philosophy of life. And do you know what's most fascinating? All of this has deep roots in Bible. When God instructed Joseph on how to prepare for the lean years, he applied something very close to this logic. Great millionaire mentors today, they study this model, adapt it and recommend it. The question is, what have you been doing with the money you receive? Are you sharing it wisely, or spending it all automatically? When we talk about personal development, many people run to books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad or The Power of Habit. Nothing against them, they're great. But few realize that the greatest manual on mindset, discipline, and growth was written millennia ago, the Bible. It's not just about faith. It teaches you to master yourself, to persist in the face of difficulties and to think like a true strategist. The book of Proverbs, for example, is a crash course in practical wisdom. It talks about diligence, self-control, focus, and even about not associating with lazy people. That's entrepreneur mindset in the vein. Big millionaire mentors, they use these principles to shape their routines and decisions. They know that before winning outside, they must win inside, in their minds. If you want to prosper, you need to train your brain to think like Joseph, Solomon, and so many other biblical examples. Start by reading a chapter of Proverbs each day. There are 31 of them, you can fit one in each morning for the month. In a short time, your way of seeing things will change. Money, your investments, and even life's challenges change completely. Because success begins in the mind, and the Bible is the best mentor you can have. Now that you've discovered how the Bible is a true guide to prosperity, how about putting these lessons into practice? Are you ready to take control of your money, invest wisely and think like a true millionaire mentor? What attitudes can you start changing today to ensure that your wealth grows, even in the face of inflation? Think about it. Are you just dreaming, or are you really taking action to transform your life? Remember, the path to financial success is not just about luck or faith, but about knowledge and discipline, something you already have at your fingertips. Do you want to continue this journey with me? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any content that will help take your entrepreneurship and your mind to the next level. Let's build a life of abundance together, learning from the great biblical examples and applying strategies that still work today. The secret is in action, and the time is now.